Hey, what's up, guys? It is Josh Thomas here with DFS Army, aka DFS Up North, is what you can find me at in the coaching channels. Here today to talk a little bit about Showdown, but then I also want to talk about Primetime. I think that the Primetime slate, the two gamer Sunday night, Monday night, is definitely underutilized by our members, and I think it can be a really good source of a profit if you play it the correct way. So we'll take a look at the Showdown, talk a little bit about that, and then we'll look at my primetime cheat sheet and create some lineups in the DS and kind of show you how I go about doing that. So let's get to it. Sunday night game, we have an ugly 40-point total between the Bears and the Rams. It is a the Rams are a 6-point home favorite. We have Trubisky and his awfulness against Jared Goff, who's been better at home, but the Rams really have been not as good as they were last year, this year. So let's take a little bit of look at what where I kind of see this slate going. Again, it's a very low scoring or low potential scoring game. So in games like this, what ends up happening is that even on FanDuel, where I think that QB and running back is king, I think that really it comes down to who's going to score the touchdowns. So, Jared Goff could throw for 180 or 200 yards and a touchdown. And if Cooper Kupp has 90 of those yards and a touchdown, he's going to be the likely most or the highest or the best captain. And the same thing on FanDuel, where if we look over here, I usually don't I very rarely have wide receivers in this spot, but I think in a low scoring game like this, where you have an Allen Robinson, a Cooper Kupp, who are high volume guys, they can absolutely be the nuts play in Showdown. So, I kind of the way I see it is that it's going to be low scoring. I think that on DK, we want to, kind of focus on the running backs here. They're the ones who are going to touch the ball the most. I think there is some value with like a Cooper Kupp getting if he has one of those 8, 9, 10 reception games, again, he's easily going to be the nuts captain regardless of price. And we do have an issue here with David Montgomery. All right. David Montgomery is a starting running back for the Bears. We are assuming that he is not playing tonight, or at least that's what I'm assuming. That's the last I've seen. I can maybe check here, but we're assuming he doesn't play. So what that means is he's been questionable all week. He's a true game time decision. They might even run him out there for warm-up, see what it looks like. But if he is out this week, that means that we are going to get Tariq Cohen in the starting running back role. He's not necessarily a between the tackles guy. So while he will get a definite increase in volume, it sounds like, according to the Bears coach, that Ryan Nall, who's only $300 or $200 min price on DraftKings, I believe he's 5,000. I mean, to click that 5,000 on FanDuel. So min price there. He will likely have some work too. So it looks like we still don't know anything about David Montgomery. We'll know more about an hour and a half when we get closer to 5:45 when the injury report comes out. So if he's out, that really opens up some for Tariq Cohen. It opens up a really intriguing min price play in Ryan Nall, who I think definitely makes some sense. So, like I said, it's tough on these low-scoring games because you really, really have to get the touchdowns right. I think that there's an interesting way to play this is we have two good defense, two mediocre quarterbacks, and some decent running backs. So we can play like a Gurley, Tariq Cohen, or David Montgomery if he plays both defenses and both kickers, and you might end up getting all the scoring there. So I don't mind that sort of play. I think defense is definitely in play here. I like the Rams deal a little bit more. I think they're at home, and that definitely helps. And we have Mitch Trubisky on the other side of the ball, and he's awful. Goff can turn it over a ton too, but seems like that's been on the road. So I love Zerline, love Panero. Ben Brodiker is a name that you need to know. He is really the only healthy tight end. He caught a touchdown last week. Definitely a guy that another turd that I'm interested in. Josh Reynolds, cheap option if you're gonna roll out some of those like cup lineups where he's expensive and you need some salary relief. Josh Reynolds is the third receiver on this team. Has a decent matchup. The reason I like Cup 2, Buster Skrine, worst defensive back in the league in the slot. And I think a dud last week for Cup means that he's on the bounce back here. So definitely like him. Gerald Everett's another guy that I really like on the primetime slate. We'll talk about him I think that he's going to go. He's questionable right now. It sounds like he'll play. And since Cooks has been out, Everett's really taken up a possession type receiver role in this offense. And with the Bears pass rush and Khalil Mack's running down Jared Goff, I think we're going to be looking to get the ball out of his hands quickly, and that definitely benefits Gerald Everett. So again, you can check out my sheet. I think that there's a couple of ways that you can go about this. I think that another interesting way to build lineups is to run a Bear like Allen Robinson or Tariq Cohen in that captain slot, and then run Rams onslaught after that. You can go Cohen and the Bears D, or something like that. Robinson and the Bears D, or Robinson and Pinero. If you don't want to go full 5 on Rams onslaught, I think the Rams roll here, especially on the road. But this is Showdown. Like I said, I put Trubisky in here, and Trubisky's terrible. The Rams D is good, but this is Showdown. We need to get exposure to all these guys that are going to have their hands on the ball and the ability to score, and that is why I am a big believer in MME for Showdown. I think that you can build single entry lineups and things like that, but you are better off to run an MME to cover all those options, and I think you can build it. It's hard, but I think you can play it, a little bit safer in MME and kind of focus on certain guys and try to slam it. And when you build that tight core and you hit, you're going to smash, and it might cover you for a couple of slates. And that's the thing that I think people don't understand is I see people tilting. You're likely going to only, win 1 out of every 3 or 4 showdowns, but hopefully you're crushing in that one, and that's going to cover those ones where you lose. Because I know in the interview that Sniper did with Josh Realtor, he talked about how, hey, if I'm not first, I want to be last, because I want to, I'm trying to build for all these scenarios that are going to win me a big chunk of money. And really, I think that's what you have to do in Showdown. So again, Showdown, hit me up in coaching channels if you have any questions. I know Geek will be in there too. I think this is a very boring Showdown. I'm not even sure I'm going to watch it, but I will have money on it because I'm a DJ like you guys. So, but what I really wanted to talk about today is the Primetime slate. I think that the Primetime slate is one that is definitely not utilized enough by players. It's a 2-day, and there's always an edge there in fading the first game, or fading whichever game is going to be more popular, right? So this week, I think that the first game's not going to be as popular. So maybe trying to build some stacks there and fading the Chiefs Chargers high total. Obviously, that might not pan out, but I think maybe getting some, running hey, I want Jared Goff, and then I want Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp, and run that sort of quarterback, and then run it back with like a Damian Williams and Melvin Gordon from the next game. Well, you're assuming that, hey, Goff's going to throw a ton, and Mahomes isn't going to score in that next game, which I think can absolutely happen. So you can kind of play off the games each other when you're building, and you can do that in the DS too. So again, I have all my notes here. Maybe the big things I want to point out is that, I love Patrick Mahomes, even though I just said, hey, there's that option. I think that if you really wanted to even run 150 Mahomes lineups, if you can do it in the DS, I don't think that's the worst idea in the world. They have a nice mini-max $1 entry for Primetime that I play a lot. Payout structure is great. It's only, it's obviously it's a mini-max, so there's going to be a decent amount of players in there, but definitely a good contest. I really do like Damian Williams. I think he's been the guy here. The Chargers are absolutely terrible against the run. And at 1,300 less than Melvin Gordon, I think he makes a lot of sense. I think I love Gurley. I love him. I think the Bears are very susceptible to the run. They have this, not aura, but this reputation of being a great defense. And they are a good defense. They pass rush. Last couple of weeks, they've been very mediocre. They've let the Lions with Jeff Driscoll drive on them multiple times. And I think that Todd Gurley, I think they're really going to try to focus on the run here, and stay away from some of those better defensive backs. And I think that Gurley is going to have a smash game here. Austin Eckler, you're really just paying for a slot receiver here. So I think he's interested. And then we got the Bears running backs. Again, if Montgomery's going to be out, Ryan Nall makes a ton of sense at 3K. Even if he's not out, I think Tariq Cohen makes a lot of sense at 4,600 because he's going to be more involved in that third down back row. So we've seen Montgomery recently try, except for last week when he burned everybody, kind of step into that. I'm going to play 3 downs. I'm going to be that bell cow back. Well, now with him hurt, I think that we see a little bit more Tariq Cohen Here on receivers, I talk a little bit about how I think Tyreek Hill is way overpriced. He gets it done every single week, but at 8,300, he really needs a huge game. So I'm gonna keep Tyreek Hill. I'm gonna have some exposure, but I'm really gonna limit it to my Patrick Mahomes lineups. There's not a ton of viable wide receivers here, so this is going to be a pretty tight pool. And then the other thing I want to do is lots and lots and lots of double tight end. I think I love Henry and Everett. Kelsey's fine. He's priced up. But I really love the double tight end in this primetime slate. There's not a ton of viable. I mean, there's lots of viable running back options, but I just think that, with the way it's priced out, I love Hunter and Gerald Everett, and that kind of helps me build a lineup that I like. And then on defense, for 2 games, everybody's viable. Obviously, I think you just find a way to pay up for the Rams here, but everybody's viable. So let's take a look at the domination station. Oops, I just wanted to make sure I was still recording there. So let's take a look at the domination station. All right. So some of the settings that I want to take a look at. So we're in here. I almost always set my FP range to like 3 or 4. That just gets rid of me manually unclicking the turds. I want to build 150 lineups. I want it to be in tournament mode. I want 3 uniques. For this primetime 2 game, this is important. You can play players against your defense. I think you can play up to 2 players against your defense. I'm going to see what it gives me for lineups. I might kick that up to 3. All right. I always go to server mode. I am flex position. I am fine just not touching these right now. I might come back and adjust these, but I want to be able to get some tight ends in there. Disallow more than 1 pass catcher from the same team unless QB from that team is being used in the lineup. Force player from the last game to the flex position. Okay, this is something that I want to look at when we start building here. I might need to uncheck that if I'm not getting enough double tight end. I do short game, similar to Showdown. I'll run pretty high randomizations here. So let's go to close these. Let's go to correlation stacking options. I want to do the universal rule. I think that's important. Secondary stacks. Typically, if I'm building for the main slate, I will run out these secondary stacks and not have. I will just do RB and opposing team pass catcher, wide receiver and opposing team pass catcher, and running back and defense. But on the short game slate, I want all of these options. Get the correlation boost. Let's go Mahomes. So I'm going to use the correlation stacking tools to really control all of my lineups. All right. I want heavy exposure to Patrick Mahomes. We're going to start with 80. Okay. Let's say I want 80 total. That's more than 50%. Well, let's go to 90. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run 60 game stacks. And then my next one is going to be 60 or 30 team stacks. All right. So not game stacks. All right. So we're assuming that actually let's go 70-20. Okay. So these 20 are assuming that the Chargers can't move the ball and they really struggle. Could I still end up with Chargers in there? Absolutely. It's just not being controlled for. All right. If I want to no less than 1, no more than 3, no less than 1, no more than 2, you're going to get these onslaught stacks in a primetime slate. There's 2 games, like you have to do it. All right. So now I want to start controlling some of these. All right. So I'm just going to go 70, 50. I can absolutely still have some Damian Williams in here. I think that is a fine thing to do. I'm not as high on Sammy Watkins. Mecole Hardman is just a punt play. And so is Demarcus Robinson. And I am going to have 0 Darrell Williams. If he burns me, so be it. On the other side of the ball, I want to run this thing back with any of these guys. Let's just see what it gives me. And then I can come back in and mess with it a little. So let's go 70. Travis Kelce for 50. Damian Williams. Let's go for 30 on these team stacks. Sammy Watkins, 30. Mecole Hardman. Let's just go 10, 10, 0. All right. So now I got my Mahomes stack set up. All right. Now let's do a Rivers stacks. So I've got 90 lineups here. Let's do 20 Phillip Rivers lineups. I want these all game stacks because I want lots of Chiefs. 1 to 2 here. Let's keep it. I want lots of Hunter Henry, so I'm going to drop everybody else to 50 and just leave him at 100, and hopefully it gives me lots of Hunter Henry. All right. On the other side of the ball, I'm probably just going to run it back with the really high-end skill plays here. I'm not looking for a turd. I'm just trying to get some of these stud guys. I'm even going to limit Sammy Watkins to like 10%. Tyreek Hill, we'll give 70, 100, 100, 100. Let's add another one. So we got Rivers. Now let's do Goff. Okay. Goff similar to, so I've got how many here? 110. Let's go 30. Okay. Well, okay, I'm going to do 20 Goff lineups that are game stacks or team stacks, and then 10 that are game stacks with Goff. Just kind of run it through, see what we get. 10 game stacks, just because I do not love the Bears side of the ball here. Some of these guys, I'm just going to zero out big time. Again, up to 3 is fine. I want very little, not a ton of Josh Reynolds. I don't want any Malcolm Brown. Woods, let's put him at 70. Todd Gurley, I can leave up there at 100. Cooper Kupp, I can leave at 100. Those guys that I really want a lot of, I just leave that at 100. If I have to go back and adjust, I have to go back and adjust. Game stack, same thing. Zero some of these guys out. I don't think Higbee's even going to play, which really opens stuff up for Gerald Everett. I'll limit Woods just a little bit because he's so boomer bust. And we'll go 10% Josh Reynolds. On the other side of the ball, kind of leave it as is. I will just drop Montgomery to 0 and assume he doesn't play. Taylor Gabriel, 30. Tariq Cohen, 750. Okay, and that lets me get these guys in. I should change my exclusions to get Ryan Nall in here. Let's just assume he plays. We'll run it like this, and we'll give him 7 points, which he really smashes at. But I still want to limit him in my game stacks. All right, and then I need 10 Trubisky lineups. We'll go game stacks there as well. Get a correlation boost. Whew, this is a lot of work, but I do think it's important. I don't want it more than 2 here. We'll run it back either way. And we'll just leave this one as is and kind of see where these Trubisky stacks are really kind of, hey, what's going to happen, right? We'll go 50 for now just to make sure. All right, now let's run it. Let's see what happens. All right, let's take a little look-see here. Oh, I need a like. I always forget to do that. Stupid DraftKings. My players, all players. This typed in. Let's like. I like Cooper Kupp, and I like Hunter Henry. We can increase his projection a little. Okay, boom, done. Didn't change the exposures, didn't do anything like that. We can always do that later. I think that's important to just make sure that we run it at least once and kind of see where we're at, and then we can go back and adjust. That's something I always do. Look how fast this is running. Like, this is going to take less than 30 seconds. Yeah, so when you're building these primetime slates, now we got to go. So we kind of, we'll look and see what our exposures are. We can always look and see what our stacks are. And then we just kind of start going through lineups and seeing, okay, how does it look? Does this game script tell a story? Because we talk about that for Showdown. I think it's important for primetime too. What story are we telling for the Sunday night game? What story are we telling for the Monday night game? And I always want to, kind of make sure that we're doing that. And look, in the grand scheme of things, like, did my notes sheet, read that. Look at this. Takes 10, 15 minutes. It's not bad at all. All right. So we got Mahomes. Let's see. We'll go to QBs first. So Mahomes at 67, Rivers at 19, Goff 7, Trubisky 7. So for some reason, it's not giving me enough Goff and my Goff stacks. All right. But you know what? That's probably okay too. So we're getting some Malcolm. We're getting some of these turds in here, and that's the benefit of doing this MME, right? We're building 150 lineups. We can afford to waste 6 lineups on Darrell Henderson, but if he scores, we're crushing, right? Wide receiver. Let's see what that looks like. Reynolds very low. Robinson, Gabriel. Let's see. Hill. We're getting a lot of Kupp, Keenan Allen. All right, tight ends. Lots and lots and lots. We're getting these doubles in. Yep. Chiefs, Bears, Chargers. Yep. I like it. Now let's see what our stat combinations look like. So we're getting a lot of onslaughts here. All right. So the Trubisky one, I'm getting Robinson, Montgomery, Cooper, Gurley. Let's see Patrick Mahomes, Hunter, or Hill. Let's see. Oh, and here's what I love about this. We're getting tons of different stacks, right? Tons of different stacks. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Team stack. Okay. So we're not getting any of my game stacks, or some of these are not showing up. So we're going to uncheck that. We're going to uncheck that, and we're going to run it again and see what happens. All right. Yeah, so we'll run it again, see if unchecking these will kind of give me the stacks that I need. It was only giving me 3 of these stacks, so you know what I mean? Sometimes the DS does that. You got to massage it a little bit, make sure it looks all right. Still have not seen anything on David Montgomery yet, but we're getting closer to lock. And again, you just leave this. You just leave this up, and then you can come back in and rerun it. Like, so say they got David Montgomery out. You come in, you leave all your settings up, you press check, you press the button, boom, we're done. All right. Undo David Montgomery, optimize again, see what it looks like. All right, let me see if I'm getting more stacks here. Jeez, I'm getting a lot of Patrick Mahomes stacks. So it's not stacking up Rivers for me, but you can see that within these lineups, it's giving me Rivers. So I do like that. Okay, we're getting some of these big onslaught stacks. Okay, maybe 3 receivers with Patrick Mahomes, so we're assuming he has a massive game, right? Running it back with big 5-man stack. I love seeing stuff like this because I think it. So I'm not getting the Charger stacks, but it's showing up anyways. So again, you just go through and take a look here. I think that this, like I said, let me make sure as long as your exposures are right, you're probably in good shape. It's a 2-game slate. There's tons of stuff that can happen. Personally, what I'd probably end up doing right now is I'm just going to set a minimum exposure for Goff and get me a bunch more of them. Okay. It's sometimes we don't want to see that's what the issue is. It's saying it's not enough players. So I have to go in and massage this. Again, I hope this helped. I hope that you start playing these primetime slates. I'll be around. Give me a shout. Let me know what you got, and we'll get her set up for you. So good luck tonight in the showdowns. Good luck in the primetime, and let's have a good week.